and welcome to Waste Breakfast, where we'll talk about everything governance, mental health, self-development, and of course, entertainment. My name is God's Beauty Israel, and I'm joined by my amazing co-anchor, Joy.
Hey.
What's up with you, babe? How you
Another
doing?
morning alone.
Whatever. I just feel like we would actually do it. I mean, we have always learned to do things by ourselves, you know. I don't know about you, but I'm a very, very independent person. So regardless of whoever comes in, I feel like I am just so much vibe to. I'm a very high person.
I know about me because I have deliberately and intentionally read the 48 Laws of Power, and I'm so excited. We're going to be wrapping it up today.
Right.
So a lot of those laws, I don't just read and review and just come to speak. I just read it to imbibe into myself, and I've learned a lot from those laws. So it makes me feel like come weather, come sun. I mean, under the weather, under the rain, anyhow it is, we'll rock it down and we'll just keep it going. I'm good.
True. And I think I'm even excited for the next book we'll be reviewing. You know, it's not yet like established that, okay, we'll be reading that, but I mean, I'm just super excited because I feel like this whole book review, this segment has really taught us a lot, you know. The 48 Laws of Power, when I look at those laws, sometimes I feel like they are supposed to be books on their own. Do you get? Because we have so much to learn from each of those laws. Yeah. It doesn't just teach you that, okay, this is the law and this is how you should apply. It takes you down to the solutions when you have issue with that kind of law, you know. So, and a whole lot. It's just, I feel like it's something that everybody needs to go and read, including Nigerian government.
Oh, God.
I'm not joking.
Because you see,
I'm not joking.
We don't have to start today on that note.
When you're going to read your news, definitely would always talk about this country for sure. Not just because we stay in it, but because we are a citizen and we are leaders of tomorrow. I don't know how many times you heard that when you're in secondary school, but I heard that.
You heard this from secondary school, from primary school.
Do you get?
I started hearing you be leaders of tomorrow, and I'm like, okay, when is this tomorrow gonna come? But
and the truth is,
I'm not excited or anticipating to see that tomorrow yet.
Hey. No, what I just think that particular sentence mean is for every time you are, like, the more you grow, you definitely get those leadership space and all of these things. So you just remind yourself that you have to do great things as far as you're in that position. You know, just like the 48 Laws of Power. For every time you are in power, you have to make sure that you remain in power and you do good things so that, I mean, the next person coming up, not the examples our leaders are giving us, but I mean, they are like the leaders we have today. We have tomorrow, so we have to look at what they have done, get the good things, and keep the negative things to them. So that's it, basically. But apart from everything we've spoken about, how you feeling, Joy? How you doing?
So, I just feel like this morning is a testimony for me. I'm really grateful that I'm even seated here this morning.
Hallelujah.
Whatever happened to me this morning, I didn't see it coming. I didn't even know it was going to come. So it's very funny how it happened because the same place I stepped on, that was the same place I stepped on yesterday night, and nothing happened. And then all of a sudden this morning when I was just about to leave my house and come down to the office, and then boom, it happened. I'm like, no, I don't want to start my day like this.
Sorry.
I'm like, nah, it was a bit painful, but yeah, I'm just
that's
excited that I'm here. But
I'm super excited to see you. I didn't tell you, your gown looks lovely. So I don't know the right what to say, but what I'll say is tomorrow I'm putting this on, guys.
Okay, guys, I'm giving somebody some modeling space now.
You know,
you need to give it up to me.
Beautiful.
Just give it up to me. Yeah, thank you, baby. We go for the best.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really like today we'll be having awesome discussions, and not just entertainment, but I mean, the education today is going to be elite. So, taking us to today's topic, we'll be discussing career perspective, exploring the culinary world. Let's see the business part of cooking. To some people, cooking is passion. To some people, it's a whole lot, probably like skills and all of that. But I mean, we have a guest on the show that put us through it. So before we even dive into that intriguing subject, let's take a moment to catch up on the latest headlines around the globe. Please stay with us. You're watching Waste Breakfast. I'll be taking you on a captivating journey across Africa with The Punch, Nigeria's prime newspaper. The major headlines we discuss: make 1 trillion naira amid grid crisis. Unmetered customers hit 5.8 meters. Discuss grew revenue by 30% in 2023. Overbilled customers despite grid collapses. Electricity tariff hike looms as federal government raises gas price. Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission vows more sanctions over estimated bills. Bottom of the newspaper, we have Easter. Fund seekers flood parks, beaches amid tough times. Presidential nod. Ondo All Progressive Congress governor aspirants besiege Abuja for Tinubu's endorsement. Police go after hoodlums for raiding Ninth bus, robbing passengers. Zenith Bank extends win as Nigeria's best bank. Above the masthead, Tinubu African leaders grace Senegal presidential swearing today. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries oil output plunges as Nigeria Iraq/exports. Nigeria Economic Council sits over state police as governor plans for forex guards. At the top right side of the masthead, ex-governor's trial shows Economic and Financial Crime Commission won't spare anyone, says Olu Koyede. And that's all on the headline for the Punch newspaper. So the headline that piqued my interest is the major headline as usual that reads, Discuss make 1 trillion naira amid grid crisis. Unmetered customers hit 5.8 meters. So what the newspaper is saying is today is despite the persistent epileptic power supply nationwide, revenue generation by electricity distribution companies in Nigeria surged to 1.1 trillion naira within the 12th month of 2023. To be sincere, do I say sincerely speaking, I feel like there are some news that should not be on the net, you know. First off, we had issues with the national power grid since 2017 to 2023. That particular, the power grid has actually collapsed 46 times. And that's why we don't always have lights, right? We keep complaining, oh, we don't have lights in Nigeria. And look, this is where, see the government celebrating that they have increase in revenue. Can you imagine? Like, normally, we don't even have lights. I think we've been complaining of lights recently around the estate, right? In my area, they've not had lights for like 2 weeks. Again.
That was, I think, last week.
Can you imagine?
All the plants were on 0 megawatts except one that was on 59 megawatts. That was the only one that they had current, and that's National Grid at Osogbo, Osun State. So all the plants were on 0 megawatts. All of them. It was just only one that was on 59. That's quite low.
And see them here now celebrating, like they are happy that, oh, we from the 12th month in 2023, we're able to generate 1.1 trillion naira as increase. Can you, like, I don't get it. This country gives other country lights. These countries have lights 24/7. Country where they give another person lights, no get lights. I don't get it.
So then again, now you know that I'm telling you that the problem of Nigeria is not that we don't know how to work, we don't know how to do the job, but the problem is that they don't prioritize citizen rights, they don't prioritize citizens' feeling. It almost feels like they don't care. I don't want to say they don't care specifically, but
they don't care. Let's just face reality.
Well, if you say they don't care, you would not literally put it for all sectors.
Which sector in Nigeria is actually working perfectly without having issues? Just mention
having issues is one thing now, but caring about the citizen first is another thing.
Oh yeah, mention. Just mention 2 places that you think the government is actually caring about its citizens.
Honestly, the sector of before elections.
The sector before elections?
Yes, before elections sector.
Before elections.
Yes, at that time.
Is that even a sector?
No, it is a new sector that was, I don't know, somehow impromptu propagated, because all of a sudden, when it's almost time for elections, then you get to see them knocking on your door. Good morning.
That's not care. That's pretense.
What pretentious care? At the end of the day, there's a care to it. So you might as well just give it to them. Say, okay, this one, well done.
With all these things you said, it just brings me back to they don't care for their citizens. They don't care for its citizens. Don't worry. Nigeria doesn't care for its citizens. And that's on period. There's no sector in Nigeria that doesn't have issues. It's either we are having issue with facility issue. I remember when we talked about this NEPA thing too. was it last month, we were talking about the fact that the Minister of the Minister of Electricity, right, was complaining that Minister of Power was complaining that a particular some certain distribution companies are not distributing light enough to the state and all of that. And we end up saying probably they have issues with their facility or it's not complete and all of that.
What did I now tell you that time?
I mean,
when you said that, what did I tell you? Did I not say stop the conversation? We don't want to hear words. We already know the things you want to do already. Before you say it, we already know these are the things you say. Can you just do the work?
Do you get
carry out the action and stop talking?
So exactly.
We're tired of hearing your words.
Same with this particular news I just read out.
And I just
feel like this is a news that is not even supposed to get to the people, people's ears.
Trust me, it just makes you to understand that at the end of the day, we'll keep going around in circles because these guys just end up talking and nothing happens at the end of the day. Can we start by taking up an action? By the time you do 1, 2, 3, 4 distribution companies, electricity distribution companies, they will sit up by default. What is your talk? We will take sanction. We will do this. Well,
I don't know, but at this point, I feel like the government really needs to stand up. They really need to sit up.
Are they lying down?
I read this.
Are they lying down?
They are sleeping.
They are sleeping.
Lying down is an understatement. These people are sleeping. I'm not joking. They
don't have citizenship care in their mentality.
Nah.
Maybe they do, but they don't just carry it out in the policies they create, in the actions and activities they do.
See, anything you're saying that I can't see the action and there's no reaction to whatever, it just shows you're not doing anything.
See, my dear, that's the only thing that differentiates Nigeria from every other country is just the citizenship care. Because guess what? All other countries have problems. But you will not see that loud because even the citizens themselves, they will even cover it up for their country. Because they know that at the end of the day, don't worry, I have good electricity, I have good road.
Let's just go over to your
Anyways, let's leave this African and Nigerian spectrum for God's beauty and our co-host. Because we, as for us, we are not here anymore again. So we'll be leaving the African continent and we're going into the international spectrum. And this morning, we'll be gathering you from the Guardian newspaper in the United Kingdom. The major story reads, Tory accused as zero progress on half of levelling up goals laid bare. And right below that, we have hospital attack ends as pressure grows on Netanyahu. And right at the bottom right of the newspaper, just down at that top corner with a blue background reads, water supplies, UK could face hosepipe bans this summer. And this morning, I just want to quickly review the story. That's it on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper that says, water supplies, UK could face hosepipe this summer. And the story reads that the United Kingdom could face water shortages and hosepipe bans if this summer is hot and dry, despite having experienced the wettest 18 months since records began. Now, leading scientists have said that this is because UK is not storing its water properly. The country is vulnerable to the all-or-nothing rain patterns being experienced more frequently due to the climate breakdown. Now, there have been no new major reservoir built in the past 3 decades. Rivers have been engineered to move water quickly, so it runs into towns and cities, causing floods and the seas, and many wetlands have been drained and framed or built on it. Now, this means that the water that helps the United Kingdom in winter is not being stored properly. Now, this will cause flood by water shortages in summer, and I do not know how to feel about this because me that is here in Nigeria, the weather conditions since last year has been extremely ambiguously, I don't know the word they're going to use right now, but it has been extensively hot and harsh. You know, it's a different thing when the weather is just hot and it's just hot like that. But this time around, the weather has been hot, suffocating and harsh, right? And it's just been, you're just looking for the nearest water you can find. And doctors will tell you every day that you need to take more than 8 glasses of water every day. If you do 6 glasses, then you should up your game to like a 10 glass every day. As a matter of fact, every morning to start with, so that you continue just stay dehydrated. So right now, I'm just picturing it that considering a country like United Kingdom, and then they're getting into summer, and I think somehow in the United Kingdom, the summer is quite hot a bit. It's quite very, very hot, and they're having water shortages. I don't see how it's going to be conducive. I know Nigerians who are used to managing, bearing, long-suffering. In fact, the long-suffering Jesus preached about was really, really, really describing Nigerians, because that's basically who we are.
Right.
So, I mean, this is just me saying to them out there that, see, we have suffered it here in Nigeria. We know how it feels to be in a very hot weather condition. So it would be nice to get on to building your reservoirs, and it's really, really be nice to get in, store enough water as possible, because trust me, you don't want to experience that kind of condition we are still experiencing till date.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like Joy has said it all. So there's nothing really to add. And like I've always said, there are so many things happening globally. So I just think the governments of those countries should do their job effectively. Emphasis on effectively, especially Nigeria.
Emphasis.
Oh my God. So yes, we're going on a break, but I mean, it's important to inform you that we're having a guest on the show today, ready to shake the table. Our amazing guest is no other person than Alexander Adeboye. See you after the break.
As Nigerians, we're desperately detached from the governance process, and we're suffering as a result of it. Nigerians need to be more interested in those numbers, because you see, if you open those documents, Miriam, you will cry. You will weep for this country. It's a travesty what happens, where projects are repeated year in, year out. For example, you say vehicles for a particular ministry, and you find that every year they're buying vehicles. And you wonder, are they recruiting new staff every year? The reason that we are not developing at the pace that we ought to develop, for example, is that we're under budgeting. We are now finding repetitions, copy and paste budget processes, and all of that. So this is really terrible. It's something that we've got to fight.
Security is something that tampers with everything. Absolutely. It tampers with investors coming into. Absolutely. The reason why we don't have enough investors coming into Nigeria or pouring into Nigeria, irrespective of our growing and thriving economy, is because of insecurity. It started with expatriates in Port Harcourt and the likes. On the road, they're kidnapping them and they're asking for their ransoms are in dollars. Yeah. And then now you're kidnapping school children. Like, when is it gonna end? Are we ever going to have an end to this? It just doesn't make sense.
Realistically speaking, there's no way you tell me that somebody, somewhere, somehow doesn't have an inkling of what's going on. In those villages, okay, fine, we say, okay, there are rural areas and all. Does it mean that they do not have security? You mentioned something about, okay, how long will it take them to get there? The truth is that I don't think those people even exist. Like the law enforcement agencies, I don't think they even exist in those areas, because how far away is the forest that they've taken 200 people into? That first of all, you can't hear voices. You can't see footprints. Did they burrow holes? Are they rabbits? Did they pass through holes that were burrowed?
No evidence.
Do you not have the topography of the area? I mean,
Thanks for staying with us. Today we'll be discussing the topic career perspective, exploring the culinary world. Remember, you can join the conversation by either sending us an SMS or a WhatsApp message, or even calling. The numbers will be displayed on the screen. Joining us now is Alexandra Adeboye, who started his culinary journey in 2011. Alexandra Adeboye is a professional chef, caterer, and culinary entrepreneur with a drive and passion for excellence in the culinary industry of Nigeria. As an Afrocentric chef that he has revolved to find a food production brand called Marubo, a brand with the sole goal to immortalize Nigeria's Asian food and save them from going extinct. Hi, Alex.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very well.
How are you, Joy? This one you're shaking your head.
No, I mean, I may just have to start this conversation myself. This one is sir, please. What do you mean by you being an Afrocentric chef?
So, simply put, Afrocentric mean I am particular about African food. Yeah, I'm particular about not just cooking it, but growing it, promoting it, advertising it to, the global audience. Yes. So everything I do is, centered around Africa, centered around Nigeria. Trying to, grow our food and all of that. Yeah.
Okay, so still speaking to you, right? I understand what you say. You want to preserve the old African dishes so that they don't go extinct. Now, why Marubo or Marubo?
Okay, why Marubo?
Yeah, I mean, you said that it's your latest or the recent brand. Okay.
So you would agree with me. So let's start with this. Of recent, there's been a lot of posts online out there about Nigerians not having food. Sometimes it's centered around some particular tribes that they don't have food and all of that. This tribe, they only have 2 soup and all of that. And then each time I see this post online, one thing I always say, or sometimes one thing I always comment under it is that, look, Nigerian food, right, is enormous. It's just like the Indian cuisine. Our dishes are enormous. However, only a few have been able to make it out there, over time. I mean, I grew up in a village, so you would expect that. I understand what it means when you say we have a lot of food, all right? So growing up in a village, I've, experienced diverse, range of foods and all of that, I realized that it's not so popular in Lagos, and you would understand why they are not so popular. Number one reason why they're not so popular is because some of these foods, they don't make it to Lagos, because of transportation, because sometimes it's because some kind of plants cannot grow here in Lagos because of the salty water, so there's a lot of factors, that come, in place. So Maribo soup is, there's a generic name for it, which is black soup, right?
Oh, okay.
It's consumed by the Edo people, and then they call it black soup. Theirs is made with efirin, right? And then, particularly the Ondo people, right? The Hausas have their own version that they call Miyan Kuka.
Yeah, I think I've heard
All right. So Maribo soup is indigenous to the Ondo people, all right? And it's usually made with a particular kind of leaf, all right, called Maribo leaf. So this is, according to our forefathers, a very medicinal soup that, they give it to people who just gave birth after postpartum, who just gave birth. And then our forefathers have also claimed that it, helps to boost the immune system and helps it fight against some kind of bacteria. So I had to realize that this particular soup we're talking about is quite a tough one to prepare. Because it features a lot of ingredients. That's number one. Okay. And sometimes, if you want, so in Ondo State where I grew up, it's not a kind of soup that you just wake up and cook. It's usually for ceremonial, procedure, ceremonial stuff and all of that, because it has a lot of ingredients, like I said, and sometimes you have to go when you get to the market, you have to go to different stores to pick the ingredient one after the other. And so I had to realize that over time, people started becoming lazy, which of course it's normal, with the Gen Z and all of that, the millennials. So back then,
Sorry to cut you in. Just a disclaimer. Gen Zs are not lazy. I mean, we're standing here for them. We're not
Wahala.
lazy. We just no. The reason why I had to put the disclaimer is that I love the fact that you came from a place of history and you were able to explain to us, me right here, and our viewers out there that our forefathers used the marigbo soup. I promise you, I've not heard about this. So you would not say I'm lazy because I didn't know about a marigbo soup until you're saying it now.
Okay, let me say,
as opposed to saying we are lazy, we will say the millennials and the other generation are not teaching us.
Let me. So I wouldn't want to give a counter.
I
would love it.
You know,
I would love it.
you know. However, I think I would also want to say that is it a crime to be lazy?
It's not.
It depends on the context you're using it.
Exactly.
No, it's
so you honestly don't even know what context I'm using it in.
In this context, you're using it. I'm not sure based on your question that says, is it a crime to be lazy? I said it depends on the context you're using it.
Personally, for me, I don't think it's lazy in the way you think that I'm talking about.
I wanted to say
it's fine to make some activities become stress-free.
That's where I wanted to even.
All right, it's fine to make some activities become stress-free, and I think that's what is happening. So, like I was saying, so because of so much effort that is required to look for the ingredients of the soup, a lot of new generations do not like to go through that stress, and so instead of looking for a way to what's the word? Simplify the cooking process, they would normally just leave it. And that is where the problem of our soups, our foods, and all of that going extinct, come in place, because they don't care. They'll tell you, why would I have to spend 3 hours making a soup that I will have to consume under 15 minutes? Whereas I can just cook Chinese fried rice in less than 20-30 minutes.
Seriously.
All right, so it's a win for intercontinental dishes, and it's a lose for us. So that's why I had to say, you know what? I have to look for every means to simplify the cooking process of this soup. And so that's why I had to put it into a blend and say, this is a blend that contains all the ingredients that you have to go through. That's number one. And secondly, most of the ingredients that features in the soup are, solid ingredients. When I say solid, I mean they're just more like nuts.
Yeah.
It features calabash nutmeg, features a lot of really hard African spices. All right. And these are spices that, honestly, in my own opinion, you would really find a blender that can blend them. Wow. That's why our parents, when they buy the ingredients at the market, they have to take it to to those who grind peppers in the market. The mill, those guys that use the mill. I don't know if you know what they call the errata, in the market. So that's most times the only kind of machine that can, really blend it till smooth. So the question that boils down to, even if, the new generations now buy the ingredients, I mean, nobody wants to have that kind of machine in their house just because of one soup.
That's
Do you understand?
That's right.
So it's also difficult to blend the ingredients together. So that's why I had to put everything in a blend, and then I had to inject branding because, of course, it's a generation that, is particular about branding.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So, and that's how that, particular soup came about. And it's just the first of its kind. There's so many other Nigerian soup that are, going to get this kind of visibility. It's just a starting point. There's a lot that's coming on the way. There's a whole lot that's coming on the way.
Okay, so when it comes to this whole cooking thing, right, I now want to ask, because, I mean, before I even go to the business part of culinary, right, this cooking thing for you, was it like a passion thing or was it skill? And what do you think should come first? The passion, the skill? Is it the skill that will bring the money, or is it the passion that bring the money?
Okay, answering that really quick, it's the passion and the skill together that will bring the money. Because you can have the skill, and if you do not have the passion to pursue the skill, it's a big problem. Okay. Because then you become too complacent, and then of course when you're complacent, money does not come in.
Definitely.
All right. And if you also have the passion and you don't have the skill, people will start giving you a job, and then you don't have the skill to make the job happen. They will stop. So I would say it's a joint venture between the passion, with the passion and the skill. So you need both. You need both.
So speaking to that, and when you were calling all of those, you said it earlier that we have a whole lot of soups and all of that.
Yeah, foods generally.
Now, is there a one way to cooking? let me give an example. We have egusi, for example. I think about 2 days ago, me and my like co-mates, we are having this whole argument on which or how best can you cook egusi. So we're like, oh no, you have to fry the melon. That's the only way to be nice. Oh no, you have to boil the melon for it to be nice. So is there even a one way to cook it? And those people, me personally now, I don't like following rules. So I can tell you for a fact that the way my mom prepares her egusi is quite different from mine. And definitely you have different tastes, you know. So is there a one way, or do you think you can just do it differently and
Okay, so
comes out well?
nature explains that.
Okay.
All right. There's a reason why everybody in the whole world is not black. There's a reason why everybody in the world is not white. So nature explains that. There's a reason why there are different kind of plants and animal and then species. So I think nature explains it. So it's a natural phenomenon that, you know, we are meant to explore. We are meant to just try things in a different way. And personally, I feel like that's what it means when the God that creates us says he wants us to multiply. Multiplication in his own sense might necessarily not mean, you know, giving birth. It means multiplication. Even your talents have to multiply. Your ideology, your ideas about, you know. So there's no one way to cooking. All right, there's no one way to cooking. I mean, it's going to be boring. Imagine having one way to make egusi soup, and that's what the whole world is eating. You know, it's actually, I think it's going to be boring. So there's no one way to cooking. However, in as much as there's no one way to cooking, my foreword when it comes to cooking is that keep it simple. All right, always keep it simple. Always keep it simple. Yeah.
So in the space of trying to keep it simple, I'd always on this table that I would always come for the money. What is life? What is life without money? So how in the culinary world now, how the chef who are already there, an upcoming chef, tend to drive from just mere cooking or basic or master cooking into making money? How does it work?
If I get your question correctly, you want to know how the chefs who are there currently
and chefs who would love to also come into the culinary space, how did they just transcend from
how
just
did you start making money from cooking?
And then you just get into making money? Yeah, from cooking.
Making money is simple. Basically, there are two ways to make money. You either offer a service or you sell a product.
Put us through it.
Basically. So when it comes to offering a service, before you offer a service, there's a step one. And the step one is that you have to acquire a skill. All right? So let me start with those ones who are just coming into the industry. You've got to be, on top of your game when it comes to skills. Get a culinary education. I know it's quite expensive, very expensive, to go to a chef school. It's fine. I never attended one anyways.
That brings me to my next question, but go on, go on.
Right. So if you cannot afford a culinary school, which I know, like I said, it's very expensive. I'm not just in Nigeria. It is around. In fact, as a matter of fact, I think Nigeria has the cheapest culinary education in the world. Yes. You can get maybe like a 6-9 months program for 1.92 million naira.
What?
And I said it again, quote me anywhere, Nigeria has one of the cheapest culinary education in the world. So it's not like anybody is overpricing. When you see any culinary school that tells you that amount, it's actually worth it. So, like I said, get the skills. And then when you get the skills, people will always come for you. Everybody wants to eat. I'm sure at some point this morning, some of us have put one or two things in our mouth, even if it's not like a bigger bogus meal. Before the end of the day, we are going to eat, right? So it's a beautiful industry. So for those who are coming in, get a skill and then offer that skill. People want people to cater for their events. People want to eat in restaurants and all. So when you have the skill, there are always restaurants who are willing to employ. So every now and then, restaurants are always putting out job openings. All right. So the industry is a massive one, and it's still growing. Honestly, it's a very, very new industry in Nigeria with untapped potentials. All right. So yeah, it's still growing.
Incredible. I mean, I feel like I'm literally enjoying this conversation just as my auntie. She's a foodie. Oh. She's a strong one. I'm expecting her to blast you with questions, to be sincere.
Don't
But I
worry.
mean,
So
we'll be going
after
on
the
a short
scene.
break, right? Let's quickly go on a short break. And when we come back, I feel like Joy has a whole lot to talk. Let's hear it. Stay out. See me after. Thanks for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, we're on the topic career perspective, exploring the culinary world. I'm very sure you are. Some people are like love food, just like Joy here. But let me quickly ask a question before Joy hits me, right? You come in now.
No,
baby.
it's you because no, why you saying that I'm the only one that likes food on this? You know it's this morning, or you know it's yesterday.
I've not eaten
You
this
don't like
morning.
food, so even
No,
if
I'm
you
not a
don't,
food
even
person, to be sincere. I prefer snacks.
So who is a food person? Exactly, you prefer snacks. At the end of
Like-
the day, you're a snack person.
I am a snack person,
You
but
shall see.
And at the end of the day, snack is food, right?
Snack is food. Thank you, sir. That snack is food. So at the end of
I
the
can't
day,
believe
you're
the
a
trolley
food
I'm on.
You come back.
Oh my God. So speaking of the 1.9 for fees going to the culinary school and all of those things, if I'm being sincere, sincerely speaking, right, I don't even see a reason why. Maybe because I'm not like a foodie person.
No,
I
I
don't.
food I
but-
like.
but-
I'm not going to go.
do you get?
No
but that
worry.
takes me to. Thank God that you said you didn't even go to one. But I mean, you're a chef, an amazing one at that. We can't wait to test, the food. But,
Yeah,
but
there's
let's
something
leave that. Let's leave that.
backstage.
Well, let's leave that. How important do you think this school is? I feel like all thanks to YouTube. YouTube has a whole lot of things to teach us. Me personally, I'm a YouTube fan. I didn't learn, see, the cooking that I know, or all the things I know how to cook today, I'm not sure I learned all from my parents, to be sincere. I'm always too busy to be in the kitchen. But you'd always see me, when I'm always watching something, right? I was telling somebody the other day, I know how to bake cake. And when I say I know how to bake cake, I'm being sincere about it. I'll bake a cake and you would love it, right? It's something I've been doing over time. At first, I had issues with it. There was a whole lot of burning. There was a whole lot of oil and all of this thing. But with time, I got better. So, I mean, do you think this whole school thing is important? Or do you think we should just stick to our YouTube?
Okay, so here's the thing. Education is important.
Of course.
All right. What might not be important is a formal education. YouTube is informal, school is formal. All right. So now I want us to get this straight. All right. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. Right. However, for me, honestly, if you have enough money, it's good to get a culinary education in a culinary school, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So unless you just want to cook for yourself in the house, as long as you're going into a restaurant to cook for hundreds of thousands of people, you have to get an education, a culinary education in a culinary school.
Okay.
However, that does not mean that, if you have, what's it called? If you have the enablement to self-study, it's not everybody that have the ability to say, I want to study myself by myself. It's not everybody that have. A lot of people will tell you, you know what, I can't do research. Come and teach me, all right? There are people like that. So I think for me, I just happen to have that grace to say, you know what, I want to go to YouTube, I want to buy books and learn, all right? And also, I think I personally like research. So I'm the kind of person that if you say, this is a recipe for this, right? I don't just read the recipe and go straight in. I look into the ingredients, I look into the botanical names, I look into the health benefit, I look into what happens if you eat two together, So I go into deep research for every recipe. However, it's not everybody that can do. So starting with me, I have always wanted to go to a culinary school.
Okay.
Right? I remember as at 2014, there's one culinary school that I wanted to go so bad. And I can remember then I was still working as a lobby assistant in a fast food restaurant. And so I wanted to go to a culinary school. I went there, made my findings. Then it was about 1.4 million naira for a year course, 1 year program. And then to tell you how bad I really needed this, I had to, send a message or a mail kind of to the management of the school. I said, look, I have a passion for this. I want to become a great chef. There's this passion in me that is burning. However, the only what's it called, hindrance here is money. I need money to acquire this education. And I don't mind. You guys can employ me in your school as a cleaner. I want to be cleaning your school, right? And then while I'm cleaning, if you can, everything I sent in the mail does not make sense to me. Sometimes when I go back to the mail and I read it, I laugh. All right. However, that mail was coming from the place of I really wanted this so bad. So there was no response, and so I tried and I said, you know what? I'm still not going to give up. That's so talking about that now, it's inbuilt. I don't give up. So that might be another topic for another day. So I don't give up. So I said, I'm not going to give up on this because I can't acquire this education. And then that's how I started investing my salary. Then I think it was about 20,000 naira or 18,500. Right, I was earning in a fast food. I started buying cookbooks. From that salary, I would go to cyber cafe. I didn't have a laptop. I would go to cyber cafe, pay them extra money so I can, access YouTube with their computer and all that. I go to cyber cafe with book and paper, and then I write a lot. So it was like a whole lot of starting from the basics for me. And from there, I bought cookbooks, and then I saved up, got my first oven, and then I started practicing the things that I see online, live, right, in the kitchen. And then, so that was where it started from me. And that was how I gathered my own skill, because I had the inability to go to a culinary school. However, if you ask me today, Alex, do you think not going to that culinary school was a blessing? Honestly, I don't think I would have really wanted to go through that stress. I would have probably wanted to go to school, be taught, and then go for internship, and then just start my career, because it was like a whole lot of stress. That's number one. Number two advantage that you get when you go to a culinary school is that, so when you go to a culinary school to study, when I came into the industry, there were not so many places where you could get ingredients to make continental food. There were only few Lebanese stores that you can walk to, Italian store that you walk to and get the ingredients. All right, so I struggled to find these stores. I really struggled. And so that was actually what brought about my first brand, Chef's Market. We'll talk about that if we still have enough time. So I struggled to get where to buy in. So just imagine me looking through a recipe book, and then I want to practice how to make a particular dish, and then there's nowhere to find the ingredients.
I feel you.
All right. However, if I had gone to a culinary school, my instructor will have said, you know what, we are doing practical today. Go to so store to get this ingredient. That's number one. Number two is networking. When you go to a culinary school, you have a network of people who want to go into the industry with you, same industry with you. You have an instructor who is telling you, oh, now you are a graduate. There's a particular restaurant that needs a chef. So I was denied all of those things. In fact, even when I knew that, Alex, you know what, now you can cook, you can do basic cooking, there was no job for me because I was not in that circle.
Interesting.
So even when I gathered the skill, I couldn't penetrate, that circle. So there's a whole lot of advantage that I feel like I was denied of at the early stage of my career that I feel like I honestly wouldn't have wanted to go through.
So Chef Alex, three major things I know I have listened to and I've been able to pick for career perspective right now is networking, passion, and dedication when it comes to whatever career it is that you're taking. So it will be nice that we are very intentional about these things that we do. But just in a few minutes, as fast as possible as you can, I'd like you to just, apart from culinary school, right, in the chef industry, can you just take us through the journey of opportunities and challenges, right, in the culinary world? It would be nice to know.
Okay, I'll start by saying, for my industry, the culinary industry, there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of jobs in the kitchen that you can do. You can be a pastry chef, you can be a kitchen assistant, you can be a whole lot. You can be a supplier. So it's like a whole lot of chain, right from the farm till the food gets to your table. It's a culinary chain. So you could be a chef, like I said. If you don't want to be in the kitchen, you can, you of course, you still acquire the culinary knowledge and know what the kitchen people need, right? You could go into supply, start supplying restaurants, so there's a whole lot. And like I said earlier, the industry is big and chefs are in high demand.
Yeah.
I'm saying this because at some point in my life, I ran a cooking job, a chef's job recruitment agency. And one of the major challenges that I had was that people were requesting for chefs and I could not provide. So that's like the jobs are way more than the people who are in the industry. Honestly, you won't hear this, in a lot of places, but I'm telling you this because I'm a chef. There's like a high demand for chefs. A standard recipe that you tasted and everybody says, oh, this food is nice, and then some random customers just come from somewhere and say this food is trash. So one of the most important things in learning how to cook professionally is that you have to master the art of making a dish taste good for 100 people. And I think that's where the technicality comes in.
Okay.
So
I get it.
So you have to learn that is really, really, really important. And then I think, so going back to the question you asked now, the reason why there's a high demand for chefs is because, for me, I think I would say that cooking is, I think people are beginning to realize that cooking for themselves is probably not worth the stress and time. Especially coming from a chef like me who's not a foodie.
You see.
So let me beg to say this. If I wasn't a chef, I think I would be that guy who might not have a stove and a pot
In his house.
Because sometimes, so like I said, a lot of people no longer see the reason to cook because people are now having 2-3 jobs to do. Bills are becoming higher and crazy every day. So a lot of people are now investing their time into doing a lot more important thing than saying they want to cook. So now, for people like that, if they want to cook, they just want to do it for leisure, or for the love of it. Do you understand? So there's a lot of people now who don't really go into the kitchen. So I think for me, that's why there's a high demand in chefs, a high increase in the rate at which new restaurants are opening. It's almost like, right now in Lagos, it's almost like every week there's a new restaurant.
Yeah, so please, just in 1 minute, just very last question, in 1 minute, do you think that the rise of food influencers and social media has impacted the culinary world?
Yes, it has. And how do I think it has? Food standardization is important. How do I mean? It is important for, so talking about this now, this is, directing my response now to immortalizing our food culture and tradition. So I don't know what food influencers are doing currently, but for me, I feel like what they should do is, upholding the standard of our foods. That's like, what, this is egusi soup, this is how it's supposed to be made, this is how it's supposed to be made. Of course, you can be creative, but let people know that this is the value, this is how it is, and not, trying to do some, sort of paparazzi that now ends up, taking our food away from us. Do you understand? So yeah, food influencers, they're really, really important. We need them. Honestly speaking, we need them, because another thing that a lot of people don't understand about food influencers is that, people think that it's just about having a massive number of followers on Instagram, and then you go to Instagram and then you start cooking. No, there are people who naturally have the talent of tasting good food.
Wow.
Some people have.
That's another opportunity.
Some people have.
In this world.
Look, you can't fight it. That's one thing you cannot learn.
Wow.
There's some people whom, if you cook ogbono soup for them today, and you take out the tiniest ingredients from it, they will just tell you straight. All right. This has nothing to do with being a chef, because even some chefs don't have that palate. However, that does not mean they can't cook. A lot of chefs cook fantastic foods, but their palate is not as sharp as a lot of other regular people. So I think food influencers, according to that job description, they are meant to have amazing palate to taste foods and tell you this food is awesome. So they're needed.
Wow, okay. I've learned a lot.
So, man, I think I'll be a food influencer.
Okay, rest, I beg. Thank you so much, Rosemary. I mean, I feel like a whole lot of people are watching us, and Rosemary took her time today to watch us. Thank you so much, Rose. And she said, very inspiring. This is amazing. Of course, it's amazing when we have Chef Alex on the board. Of course, it's amazing. I feel like I've learned a whole lot today. Today has been incredible. Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you for taking your time to come and not just teach us, but I mean, tell this foodie
like
here.
an expose. No, it feels like an expose because I've learned a lot. I've heard of food influencers. I've heard of chefs. So you don't necessarily need to go to a culinary school to become a food influencer. So there are lots of opportunities in the culinary world.
So yes, I mean, we'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be diving straight to the book review segment. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Ways Breakfast. So yes, it's the book review segment. The book to be reviewed today is The 48 Laws of Power, authored by Robert Greene. That's the book, yes. You said Robert Greene, that means you must have read it.
No, the way he has been speaking, he has really been speaking from a place of power. You know that.
You're supposed to clap. Now, this is not when I said shake table.
He has really gone in depth into 48 Laws of Power.
Are you a book person?
I like book. I like book, yeah. I like book.
Okay, so we've been reviewing like from the first law down to like I'll be taking the 46th and the 47th. So the 46th law says never appear too perfect, right? So forestall or imitate envy, admit to flaws and weaknesses, emphasize the role of luck, and downplay your talent. So I think just like, I mean, we've talked about earlier, when the 48 laws of power teach you on how to be in power, stay in power, and remain in power. So nobody pushes you away. So, you know, when you appear like you know this thing so much, you start having haters. You start bringing in enemies. People start becoming envious of you. And trust me when I say, once people that are above you start getting intimidated by your talents or by how you speak or by how you move, it will be easy for them to remove you because why? They are your superior. So, you know, just like I said, 48 laws of power just taught us to have power, be in that power, remain in power. Like, I just like saying that word repeatedly. So you have to take the 47th law too. It says, do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. You know where certain people get, okay, we want to get to this ball, right? So when they get to the ball, then I get this whole appraiser, oh, you're doing well, this is good. You start making them think, and instead of them to just get there and go back or continue your work, they want to do over sabi. And you know what over sabi helps you do? It brings you down automatically. Right. So, you know, I mean, just like I've said, 48 laws of power make you have power. It makes you stay in power. It makes you remain in power. It's a whole lot.
Quick one. So for the seventh law, that was the one we reviewed. Never appear too
perfect.
The 46th.
Yeah, too perfect. So quick one. There's a Yoruba adage that says. I'll translate literally. There's a Yoruba adage that says "Tishu anybody, you know." It simply means that as a farmer, if your yam harvest turns out to be really big, you have to cover it and do not make a lot of people see it.
Incredible. So let's hear your law.
So it is with all joy and gladness that I am reviewing the very last law in the 48 laws of power, and I'm reviewing the 48 law that states assume formless Now, by taking a shape, by having a visible plan, you open yourself to attack. And then instead of taking a form for your enemy to grasp, keep yourselves adaptable and or keep yourself on the move. Now, the best way to assume or to illustrate this is take the form of a water or a fluid. You know that when you open water, you don't know the place it can just run into. You can't hold a grasp of it. So that's how you need to be in the place of power. Don't take a shape that they can always define you by it and say, oh, don't worry, we already know this is what he's going to do. This is what she is going to do. Just like I never knew that you can actually become a chef without going to a chef school. And I didn't know that you can also become an authority and a powerful voice in the culinary world by just being a food influencer. So yeah, don't take a particular shape, just become a fluid as water, and you will keep remaining in the place of power.
Thank you so much, Joy. I feel like if I allow her, she'll keep talking and talking and talking.
I thought we were leaving. I told you guys.
Abby, Oria now. So I thank you. Jesus Christ. I feel like today was actually very interesting. I will repeat, thank you so much again, Mr. Alex, for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my beautiful viewers. Rosemary, I cite you. Thank you so much for, coming, not just tuning in, but, bringing out your own comments and saying this is incredible, well done, and keep it up. Thank you so much. And yes, I feel like we'll be having another interesting conversation again tomorrow. I want you guys to tune in. Very interesting. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking too much already.
Let's just go. Let's go home.
So yes, remember to do what? Remember to catch the Waves Prime at 8 p.m. today, and you would see how these adults speak. They tell you what's going on in the world. Yeah, so from here and my awesome buddy and Mr. Chef, it's goodbye for now. We can't wait to catch you again soon. Until then, stay informed, stay inspired, stay curious, and stay tuned. See you tomorrow. Bye.